I just had the most important conversation of my life. Essentially, I was talking to a high school friend, and as we started talking, a question started to develop. And that is, how come as an individual I was not the successful businessman that I said I was going to be? And in a sense, I aspired to be like him because he has started multiple businesses and he has financial, location, and time freedom. And what I started to notice about him was that he had a central motive. And this motive was essentially to make enough money that he would be able to provide for his future family, his future wife, and his future kids to the point where they would never have to work a day in their lives. And so, what I'm assuming happened is that this motive guided every single decision that he made. And so, it was probably easier to make the hard decisions in business because of his motive, because of his purpose. The next thing we started to talk about was about time allocation. And essentially, I told him that I work a 9 to 5 job, I'm always busy and whatnot. But he basically just straight out told me that that wasn't the problem and that how I was allocating my time was the problem. Because everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, but not everyone uses them effectively and productively. And so essentially, the end goal is to make every single moment and every single second of each day impactful. And so what that leads to is, how can we stop consuming content and start producing content of value? Maybe we can turn that into financial success and something that actually would help the world and would help us start our business. Another thing we talked about was how I was afraid of starting a business because I was simply terrified of just messing up and screwing up everything, even though I'm self-aware enough to realize by not doing anything, I'm still failing. And so essentially what he told me was that fear and anger can be the biggest motivators to start action. And he gave an analogy. And this analogy was, if your family was kidnapped and they had a gun to their head, would you do all the things that you said you were going to do? And obviously you would do them because you would want to do it in order to, free your family. The final thing, and what I think is the most important, was as the conversation went on, I said the word try a lot. And eventually straight up just told me to get that word out of your vocabulary because it is actually just making you fail. Because he essentially said it like this: there's either fail on this side or there's succeed. And there is no in between. If you're doing everything in your power and you're trying to get the outcomes that you want, then you're succeeding. And if you are not doing everything in your power to win, then you are simply just failing. So with all these pieces of advice he gave me, essentially we started to create goals that I could perform in order to become the best version of myself, and in order to become that businessman, in order to become a successful podcaster, whatnot. And one of the things he talked about was charisma. And essentially charisma is what I thought was charm at first and being likable, which it kind of is. But he said that charisma is the ability to inspire others to take action. And manipulation is essentially tricking someone into doing something. So essentially you want to become very charismatic. And what he told me was to start calling people, was to start hanging out with other people more often in order to develop people skills and to develop those interpersonal skills that I need in order to talk. And what he told me was that I actually have a skill that I didn't even realize and that I was never utilizing up until this very point, was that I'm very good with hand movement. And I'm very good with it because I just flow with my hand movements. He said I basically just use my limbs in order to talk. Another question I had for him was, how did he outsource things? Because I have no idea how you outsource things. And essentially he said he will literally just go on Google and search it up and literally just call people until he finds the right fit. And that is essentially all of the core information I got from that conversation. I really hope you find that valuable. But either way, good luck on your own self-improvement journey, and remember to expect nothing but give it your everything.